For 50 years, fans of the Kansas City Chiefs have been tried and true. Each and every year, hope arrives, bringing with it, "This is our season" pride, followed by "We've always got next year" frustration. A Chiefs fan never gives up hope and is right there for every play, every touchdown, every drop ball. Following KC means celebrating smaller victories while holding back tears at each defeat. But now, this really is our year. Patience pays off. Tears become cries of joy. And years of wearing red and yellow prove to be truly fashionable. As the Kansas City Chiefs are on the cusp of taking NFL's ultimate prize. We are Chief fans forever. And this season has been 50 years in the making.
Welcome. I'm Melissa Bruner alongside Mitchell Summers. We are in Miami Gardens, Florida, where the Kansas City Chiefs hope to write the perfect final chapter to a story 50 years in the making.
That's right, Melissa. And if you look behind us at this beautiful stadium behind us, we're hoping that this is the place where it all goes down.
Let's take a closer look at it.
We planned this out years in advance. So we've been here over the last 14 months.
Building on a $550 million renovation done in 2016, Hard Rock Stadium is ready to host Super Bowl 54. Upgrades include 4 large video boards and a canopy with 8 pillars supporting 17,000 tons of steel and cladding. Even with the facelift, a lot of work remained to add a few special touches before fans fill these seats to the stadium's 65,326 fan capacity.
You know, we've had upwards of 6,000 people working on this site since we've been here starting on January 2nd. So we've been here since just after New Year's, and we've been working, ever since, just to get everything ready and to get us to this point.
From the sky, new glass-bottom gondolas will run the length of the grounds, giving fans a view of the festivities from 90 feet in the air. On the ground, 4.5 miles of fencing secures the perimeter. And on the technical side,
this is our core, this is our brains.
Verizon headed up upgrades to ensure you'll see the coverage from professional media, and fans can post their social media too.
We've invested $80 million of enhancements in our capacity that's going to be here long after the Super Bowl.
Add this super site, and the stage is set for the big game. It is absolutely gorgeous, and if you notice, they even relit those fires in red and gold.
I suppose this whole scene is kind of a reward for the long journey it's taken for the Chiefs to get to this point. So let's look back on how they got here.
How about those Chiefs?
50 years in the making.
And the Super Bowl is the greatest opportunity you can have as a football player in this world.
Kansas City has touched down in Miami.
I mean, obviously, you're going to feel the magnitude. You're going to feel how big this game is.
Getting to the Super Bowl has been quite the journey.
These last 6 months, man, it's just been a roll.
And before kickoff,
it's amazing.
Let's look back on how Chiefs Kingdom made it here. After winning the league MVP as a first-year starter, Patrick Mahomes wasn't expected to repeat dominance.
Now will fire and hit his man at the 40. Oh, look out!
Well, we learned early that Mahomes' magic is here to stay.
Explosion!
Mahomes threw 3 touchdowns in Game 1, but in the victory came loss.
And Hill in some pain.
Star receiver Tyreek Hill suffered a shoulder injury. It was the first of what became a long list of vital Chiefs players to miss time for injuries. However, a league MVP under center tends to heal all wounds.
Pat is very different, man.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
4 touchdown passes against the Raiders, all in the second quarter. Add another 3 as Mahomes outdueled Lamar Jackson. And a tight win over the Lions meant that KC was 4-0.
1, 2, 3, bang!
The Chiefs were right on track, but the train started to derail.
Gotta do a better job.
Off to the races.
KC gave up nearly 200 yards on the ground as the Colts handed the Chiefs their first loss. Glaring problems on defense started to surface.
Brissett taking himself into the end zone.
Against the Texans, it all came to light.
Deshaun Watson puts the Texans in front.
We making every running back we play look awesome.
I mean, we had plenty of opportunities to get out the field.
We got to get back to our aggression and, our passion for stopping the run.
It's a group effort. Until we buy into that, we'll keep playing like that.
Still, the most impactful loss was right around the corner. On a routine QB sneak, Mahomes dislocated his knee.
He's injured in a lot of pain.
Kansas City's Superman had fallen.
When I got hurt, I literally had no idea what was going to happen. I mean, when you look at your knee and it's in the side of your leg, you think the worst.
Chiefs Kingdom let out a sigh of relief as Mahomes returned to the practice field the week after.
Lucky enough, it wasn't bad, and I was able to get myself back here.
But Kansas City was Mahomeless for the next 2 weeks.
Over the years, you've seen teams that let themselves down after one of your best players or the best player gets hurt, in particular the quarterback, and I was proud that our guys just stepped up and kept battling and really everybody upped their game, I thought.
In his return against Tennessee, Mahomes brought back the magic like it never left.
Mahomes trips in the air, completes it.
An epic collapse spoiled the Mahomes coming, but Kansas City was finally back in form.
I mean, that guy's amazing. He's been leading this team all year. He's been doing the most amazing throws.
6 straight wins to close out the season. Kansas City ripped through the remaining schedule to win the AFC West for the 4th straight year. And the Chiefs moved up to the 2 seed, meaning playoff football in Arrowhead.
And this stadium is stunned.
Round 2 against Deshaun Watson was a mess of an intro. Down 24-0, KC needed a miracle, and it came. Kansas City roared back from what would tie the 4th largest deficit overcome in NFL playoff history. KC was within reach of the Super Bowl, and they wouldn't fall short in their moment.
Hail to the King of the Chiefs Kingdom forever.
There's no words.
They are headed to Miami. You gotta fight for your right to party.
It was never a straight shot. Kansas City had adversity to overcome, but the bumps along the journey have built a championship caliber team.
You know, Melissa, a common denominator associated with any championship team is they need some good players.
And the Chiefs certainly have a lot of those, and you'll hear from some of them next.
It'll be huge for Kansas City and the Chiefs fans, man. They haven't had one brought home in 50 years. And I think it's about time to bring this damn trophy home.
All right, Chris Jones. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of personalities on both squads. Up until this point, we've had a lot of opportunities to talk to both teams. So ahead of the kickoff, we want to take a look inside of both huddles to see what you should expect to see.
Game time is near.
We know what the moment is.
You don't get these opportunities all the time. I mean, you have to go out there and really take advantage of it.
The hype has been through the roof.
The hype is getting real, and the cameras are in front of them. Everyone's just enjoying their time.
I mean, whoever loses the Super Bowl is going to be very upset. It's going to take a while to get over.
Kansas City aims to end their 50-year Super Bowl drought. However, standing in the way is one of the league's most storied franchises.
It's great being around these guys, you know.
San Fran was probably the most complete team in the league. The 49ers were one of 5 teams to be top 10 in most points scored per game and fewest points allowed per game.
But when you come in to play the 49ers, you better be ready to play a complete game in the run and pass game, and you better be ready to do it for 4 quarters.
On offense, they feature a stable of several horses to carry the load. Raheem Mostert just ran for over 200 yards in the NFC Conference Championship game. 3 different running backs have run for over 500 yards for the Niners.
At the end of the day, it's the Super Bowl. You just want to win. It doesn't matter how you win, who gets the glory. Just go win and you'll remember it for the rest of your life.
As a defense, we got to commit to stopping the run.
And that front line is scary. The 49ers have 5 first-round draft picks on the defensive line.
They've had plenty of time to study and do stuff, and there's a little more things here that you got to deal with. So it's nice to have gotten most of that out of the way. And now they're just doing the little extra details that'll make them a little more comfortable on Sunday.
However, KC's got probably the best quarterback paired with some of the best playmakers in the league.
Here's what excites me the most, is we're turning the fastest team in the league on offense loose in a warm weather fast track.
There's never a dead route. There's no clearing routes or this. Everybody's alive.
Our mindset is different, you know. We'll never get down on ourselves.
And the Chiefs aren't as reliant on the offense to outscore the opposition. Kansas City's defense held 4 teams under double digits. That happened only once last year.
You know, before I got here, it was a point of emphasis to kind of get guys with some attitude, some, a little chip on their shoulder.
We commit as a defense wholly to stopping the run and force them to pass. I felt like we got a very good chance of winning.
You have to look at it really the last 8 weeks of the season and the 2 playoff games. And when you look at that, we're really one of the top 3 defenses in the league.
Still, when the NFL's brightest spotlight turns on,
It's kind of one of those things. I guess we'll see how it goes.
I love this team more than any other team I've ever been on, man.
I'll take that gamble anytime someone gives us the opportunity.
one play can change the course of history. Well, there'll be a sea of red when the Kansas City Chiefs kick off against the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl, but still, there'll be a lot of purple there in spirit, in large part because of the K-State presence. And with me is legendary Kansas State head football coach Bill Snyder. You're winning either way, so how does it feel knowing that regardless of the way the game goes, you're getting a Super Bowl win from one of your players?
Well, it's not about the win. It's just the fact that there's 3 wonderful young people that are having the opportunity to do what they're doing.
How much pride do you take in seeing your former players succeed?
That is the foundation of our program, is to try to help develop the capacity for young people to achieve success throughout their lives, in all facets of their life, you know, as a person, as a family member, with their faith, and certainly in academics while they were here, and certainly in football as well.
So talking specifically about these players, first I want to start off with Elijah Lee, linebacker with the San Francisco 49ers. What was it about Elijah Lee that made him special?
And number one, he was a good, solid person. He cared about his family a great deal. You know, he had those intrinsic values, or developed those intrinsic values that are so important to the things we were talking about. And in addition to that, he was, you know, a very, very fine player. His physicality was significant. You know, he's found his niche. You know, he's in the right place right now. Another guy for the San Francisco 49ers, DJ Reed. Something kind of fun whenever he was here in college, whenever y'all played Texas Tech several years ago in 2016. He, of course, picked off a pass from then Patrick Mahomes with the Red Raiders and took it back to the end zone for a pick 6. What are the chances he does something similar to that in the Super Bowl? Well, I would, you know, cherish any successes that he has in the Super Bowl. You know, DJ was a very, very fine player for us, but we liked him, and I liked his capacity to be, you know, such a quality person. The players, he got along well with the players. He was a good teammate. Could have played on defense, could have played on offense. Then, of course, guy for the Kansas City Chiefs, Byron Pringle. He's a guy that has had a long roadmap to get to where he is today. What does it mean to you to see Byron get to this point? Well, I'm really pleased about that. Byron was kind of in a different situation. One of our coaches wanted to have him here, and Byron had gotten himself into some difficulty. I was not interested in bringing him in. Fortunately, the coach convinced me to at least bring him in for a visit and sit down and visit with him. And so Byron and I sat down and talked, and I listened to, you know, his story, and I shared with him what the expectations were here. And I had told the coach, you know, he will have to convince me. I mean, everybody's going to say they're going to do the right things, but he's going to have to convince me that he will. And he did. And throughout his time here, I mean, he handled himself wonderfully. Amazing young guy. Off the field every bit as much as on the field. Before the season started, the NFL season this year, I was talking to Andy, told me how pleased they were with Byron. And I was awful pleased to hear that. They were very happy with him.
It'll be great to see those K-State icons suit up on the NFL's biggest stage. But it's not the first time that Northeast Kansas has been represented in the Super Bowl.
No, what's it like to play in the big game? You will hear from some players next.
But it's different, you know, and then all of a sudden you come back and it hits you. This is where you grew up. And so you get all these memories, and then you think of your mom and your dad, and you think about how much it meant to them.
Perry LeCompton is going to be known for a small-town boy that made it to the big time and played in 2 Super Bowls. Whatever you want to decide to do in life, that's what you should pursue and do.
I
I think it was just, one of the best times of my career, one of the best times of my life.
The last time the 49ers made it to the Super Bowl, Michael Wilhoit was on the field.
Everybody's watching. Everybody in the world is watching you at that moment in time. You can't go out there and look bad when everybody's watching.
From Manhattan High to Highland Park and through Washburn, this Kansas kid always had an eye on his former team.
Funny thing, I was a 49er fan growing up. Had a jacket, was a huge Deion Sanders fan.
Still, he's not going all in on the Niners in this big game.
I think I'll be happy for Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think I'll be happy for Kyle Shanahan and those guys that I played with at the 49ers. So I just want to see good football. I want to see fireworks. I want to see points, good execution, good defense, and guys making plays in a fun game.
Wilhoit will watch this Super Bowl with the perspective of a coach. He's now a special teams assistant with the New Orleans Saints. Helping others succeed, he says, is just as satisfying.
I think if I can make it, anybody can make it. And that's not to downplay myself or to say that I'm not talented or anything like that. It's just to say that we all are in different ways. And it just takes belief and confidence in yourself, faith in God, and hard work. And I think that it's just anybody can do it.
So many great players taking a trip down memory lane. Also, Jordy Nelson has played in the Super Bowl from Riley County. He won a title with the Green Bay Packers.
It was surreal. Just knowing that I was a part of something of those sort of history. You're one of very few people or one team that year that's going to end on a win and be a champion. After we received the trophy and all the confetti fell, they were trying to get me into the media room and kind of rushing myself, my wife Emily, and our first son Royal was turned 1 that week, so he was down on the field with me. I remember we got to about the 30-yard line, and I told the lady that was walking us off, I was like, hold on, I need to stop. And we all stopped, turned around, looked back at what was going on. And I vividly remember that, and I'm very happy that I was under enough control to do that and soak it back in, because we all thought we'd be back and never got there. So we try to take it in as much as possible.
As ingrained as those memories are, as proud as he is to have the history, the jersey he wore that day displayed on the walls of his family's restaurant in Leonardville, Kansas, Jordy Nelson also will tell you what the Super Bowl is not.
To me, a lot of people say this game will change your life if you win it, and it doesn't. I mean, people recognize you more, but it shouldn't change your life. So I think to keep it in perspective that it's the pinnacle of our job is to go out there and win this game. But hopefully there's bigger things in their lives, that this Super Bowl won't change their life forever. But it is the pinnacle. I'm not trying to downplay that of our job, but But people always told us, you win a Super Bowl in Green Bay, you'll never have to buy a beer, never have to buy a dinner, and that's not true. I've bought plenty of food and bought plenty of drinks in Green Bay since I won the Super Bowl.
Which he says is how it should be.
I stayed the same, at least I believe I did.
He's still the kid from that small field at Riley County High, an example of what can happen when you reach for the biggest stage.
I think everyone has a chance, and everyone has an opportunity. You don't know when your opportunity is going to come, but you will have an opportunity. If it's in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, NFL, and then you don't know when it is, and you might not know when it was until after it's already been passed. So it's just to make the most of your opportunity.
And when you do reach the pinnacle, know there's always another spot to climb.
Enjoy the moment, because the other thing is someone's going to win it next year, and it most likely won't be you. It could be. Take it all in while you can.
Both Jordy Nelson and Michael Wilhoit told me that the week is certainly different with all the hype, and the game day timeline is drawn out with all the activities, but once you are on that field, it's football and you just play to win.
Right, and you'll hear one more time coming up next from fans and players, and our final thoughts come up next.
They'll go anywhere, any place to play anybody. And I know that sounds trite, but that's the reason they're in this game. It's the reason they'll win this game.
Some confident words from Mitch Holthus, the voice of Chiefs Kingdom. I'm sure the rest of Chiefs fans feel a similar way. Now, I talked with him earlier on in the week. He told me he's locked and loaded, ready to go, just in case the Chiefs do win the Super Bowl.
Well, the fans are ready as well, and they're confident too. But what I've really enjoyed in meeting and visiting with so many people this week is just how much joy surrounds this team. They just love their Chiefs and this journey that they've been on with the players. They really feel part of it.
It really has been something both sidelines have felt. I think everyone's kind of feeling the sea of red and joining together.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed the journey, 50 years in the making as well. For Mitchell Summers, I'm Melissa Bruner. Go Chiefs.
It's like, wow, I can't even believe it.
Win, lose, we are there for the Chiefs.
We're excited, anxious.
Believe it, Miami, Super Bowl, Chiefs.
I do, I get emotional.